Thanks for checking out the Next Level Radio YouTube page. If you like what you hear, be sure to head over to nextlevelradioonline.com. There you can find out how to listen to more podcasts with great guests, including ones that are not on the YouTube page. You can either download them on iTunes, Stitcher, or just stream them straight from the website. You also find the links to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep you updated on everything we have going on. And you also find some other great stuff, including event coverage like Philly Comic-Con and movie reviews as well. Again, that's nextlevelradioonline.com. Thanks for listening.
Then he goes, I drove Harrison Ford on Raiders of the Lost Ark 3. And I said, what was that like? And he said, Harrison smoked a joint on the way to the set every day. And he said, one day Harrison Ford gets in the car with a sauce can. And he goes, Harrison, what are you doing? And he says, they ran out of rolling papers. And he opens up the saucepan lid, and dope smoke fills up the Jaguar. And Harrison Ford is sticking his head in the saucepan, snorting weed.
Hey everybody, it's Greg Proops, the smartest man in the world, the specky one from Whose Line Is It Anyway? And you're grooving to Next Level Radio. Get it?
It is Memorial Day weekend. Welcome to another episode of the Showcast here on Next Level Radio, episode 20 of our second season. And officially the 100th podcast, or the 100th thing that we'll put up for podcast.
Probably could have picked a better word than thing, but that's okay.
Well, what would you have called it?
Content? I don't know.
100th piece of content that we have put up for podcast. Between the interviews from 2014 that we put up individually and all the other podcasts, this is the 100th, not the 100th show, just the 100th piece of content. So.
Yeah, what number show is this? Like 50-something, 60-something?
I think we did, 35 last year?
No, we did more than that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
we did 35 interviews last year.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So we did 44 episodes last season.
Cold cuts.
Woo!
44, that's me, ladies.
So this will be the 64th episode we have done.
That.
Well,
on our way to 100.
I was just going to say, well on our way to 100. We'll have to try and plan something big, but we still got plenty of time before we get there. But we'll get there. How's everybody's Memorial Day weekend so far?
Good.
Any barbecuing and stuff like that?
Yeah, my dad came up today with his somewhat new wife, and then we did burgers, dogs, beans, brats, the whole nine.
Did you say bots?
Brats.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, we cooked up some robots. It didn't taste that good, though.
How about you, Steve?
Steve and I went golfing yesterday.
That's true. We did that. I came from a party, and I'm going back to the party after we record.
Oh, well, thank you for breaking away for the party.
Midst party.
That's true.
No wonder he sounds miserable.
He wants to go back. Well, we'll try and make this as painless as possible and get through this. All I know is I took a nice long hike today, and I was long overdue for that. So that's been the highlight of my weekend. And I am fine with it.
It's been good weather for it, if you're on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah, it's been great weather for it.
Yesterday was awesome to be outside.
Loving it. But let's get this party going so Steve can get back to his. And let's kick things off, and let's do the box office for the week. So we're still in the midst of a Memorial Day weekend because it's extended, but how are we looking so far for the box office?
Yeah, the numbers are not official. These are kind of some estimates for the first 3 days. So we'll start off with number 5, as we always do. I won't have how many weeks they've been in and all that stuff. I'll just have their straight-up numbers. Avengers Age of Ultron, estimated to finish at number 5 with $20.9 million. So, I mean, that's pretty good of a top 5 week That goes to show you how many good movies are out there. If the fifth one is 20 million. Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 is finally out of the top 5. Got kicked down to number 9 after making only 1.8 million. Number 4, I believe this movie just came out, Poltergeist.
Yep, just came out this
23 million.
Came out this week, and I went to a screening of it on Thursday night.
What did you think?
In a word, unnecessary.
Okay, you thought it was going to be really good, right?
I did, and
you were really excited for it.
It's entertaining, but it's nothing hugely different from the original, and it just didn't need to be made. They could have gone without making this movie. So, again, unnecessary.
And most of the audience agrees with you. 34% on Rotten Tomatoes from both the critics and the audience. So you are not the only one. Number 3, Mad Max Fury Road with another 23.9 million. I think that was this is its second week. Still a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh. Number 2, Pitch Perfect. Pitch Perfect 2, sorry. Got kicked out of the top spot. Still made another 30.3 million, though. Also, that one is in its second week. 67% for that, still on Rotten Tomatoes. And number 1, not a very good performance, just edging out Pitch Perfect 2 by a couple million. Tomorrowland with 32.2 million. I haven't heard good things. It's only got a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, 62 from the audience. But obviously, that opening week, it kind of speaks to the little bit of disappointment that it looks like it's going to experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews about it. I still really want to see it, just because it's Disney. So Disney, for the most part, usually does good products. At least in their animated movies, this is a little different. So right. I don't know. I'll still definitely check it out. Maybe not in theaters, but I'll definitely see it.
Steve, is this one that you're looking to see, or are you passing on this one?
No, not really. I don't really know what it's about. The trailer is kind of vague. They just touch a coin and they go to Tomorrowland, and I'm just not really sure what the whole thing's about. But
yeah,
Parts of the Caribbean was cool, and they made that out of a ride. So I guess if
That's
they made
true.
this out of a whole theme park, it could
They
be
also
better,
made
but
a Haunted Mansion out of a ride, too,
that's fair.
with Eddie Murphy.
We'll call it even.
Yeah, I think I said this last week or a couple weeks ago. Like, I think it looks kind of, the premise, kind of like you said, Steve, looks weird and maybe a little stupid. But for some reason, I still want to see it. So I don't, with those kind of numbers, I probably won't go in the theaters. I'll probably wait till it comes out on DVD.
Yeah, same with me.
So let's move on then. Let's get right into movies coming out this coming week, May 29th. First, you got San Andreas with The Rock, Carla, was it Gugino? Is that? Gugino?
Gugino.
Yeah, damn it. And Colton Haynes is apparently in this movie.
Red Arrow.
Yeah, did not know that.
Nice. Or Arsenal.
Yeah, I was going to say they never called him the Red Arrow.
No.
Still not caught up on Arrow, by the way, so don't tell me how the season ends.
What? Damn it, you beat me to that joke.
So that one, in the aftermath of a massive earthquake in California, a rescue chopper pilot makes a dangerous journey across the state in order to rescue his estranged daughter. So, isn't that like that Ashton Kutcher movie? Except it was in the ocean?
The Butterfly Effect?
No.
Oh.
It was not in the ocean.
That 70s show.
Yes.
Are you talking about the one with Kevin Costner where he was the Coast Guard rescuer?
Yeah.
That was I can't remember the name of that movie, but it was actually surprisingly a very good movie.
Yeah, it was, for an Ashton Kutcher film, it was actually good.
Yeah. No, and it's nothing like that at all.
Damn it. Okay.
So, if it's pretty much the whole premise of the movie, which I'm going to a screening of it on Tuesday, so I'll post a review of it online between now and the next podcast we do. But it's pretty much the premise is the San Andreas Fault is literally falling off the Earth's crust and taking Los Angeles and California with it. Which
Well, go Go visit now while you can. Go see Price is Right.
Well, the funny thing, the scary part about that is, too, that if I've seen documentaries on the San Andreas Fault and things like that, and I know it's supposed to be just a big blockbuster action sequence special effects movie, but if you ever watch any of the documentaries on it, the scary part is that shit can happen.
Yeah.
Like, that fault could go at any time.
Much like War of the
no
Worlds.
warning. Yeah. What?
The Rock said they handed it to a scientist, the script. So apparently it's real.
Again, I mean, that could happen at any time with no warning. So it's very, very scary.
There's a lot of reasons I don't live in LA, but I'll just add that one to it. By the way, the Guardian's the one with
that's it.
Ashton Kutcher.
That's it. Surprisingly a good movie.
Yes. So the other kind of big one, by the way, San Andreas, obviously nationwide opening. The other nationwide one, Aloha, which,
Bradley Cooper.
Just off the coast of San Andreas is taking place, is Aloha, where everything is hunky-dory over there. A celebrated military... What? Yes, everything is hunky... Well, San Andreas is in ruins. Everything is hunky-dory in Hawaii. Celebrated military contractor returns to the site of his greatest career triumphs and reconnects with a long-ago love while unexpectedly falling for the hard-charging Air Force watchdog assigned to him. Bradley Cooper, Rachel McAdams, Emma Stone, Alec Baldwin, all in this film.
Good cast.
Yeah, looks pretty good, I think. Not one I'll probably go see in theaters, but I don't know what the age gap is between Bradley Cooper and Emma Stone, but it's probably not much further than the one with him and Jennifer Lawrence, so I guess it's all,
I bet you it's less.
It's all what it is in Hollywood. You're probably right. You think Emma Stone's older than
I do.
Jennifer Lawrence? Yeah, you're probably right.
If I can completely guess, which I am.
Well,
Emma Stone's 26.
All right, you beat me to it. That's what
I think Jennifer Lawrence is older than that, isn't she?
I wouldn't think so.
No, she's 24. Wow. I didn't realize she was that young.
It's a 14-year age difference between Bradley Cooper and Emma Stone.
And 16, then, if you're good at math, between him and Jennifer Lawrence.
So
there you go.
Hey, it could be worse. You could be Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
And that one's real.
That's true.
That one happened in real life.
I don't know why when I was doing this comparison, I was actually thinking this was real.
Only in your heart.
It kind of shook me from a reality check. Hey, Bradley's a local guy. Well, we strive to get him on at some point.
Speaking of age
Stop
difference,
thinking town.
Speaking of age differences, did you hear what happened to Maggie Gyllenhaal?
She was told she was too old.
Yeah, she's
to be
37.
the love interest of a 50-year-old.
She's 37. She was told she was too old to be the love interest in a movie for a 55-year-old man.
Well, is he like a rich guy?
I don't know. I don't know the synopsis.
I think
not even in production
before you make fun of Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I'm not making fun of her.
Maybe they're looking for some gold digger story.
No, I'm not making fun of her at all.
I think it was more they just didn't want Maggie Gyllenhaal in this movie.
Yeah. Could be.
I mean, come on, because after that performance in Batman and The Dark Knight, let's be honest.
Well, she died, so.
And rightfully so.
Don't you feel bad now?
Nope.
Moving along. These are not nationwide, by the way. Those are the only two nationwide. Results, a comedy about two mismatched personal trainers and their lives, which are upended by the actions of a new wealthy client. Starring Guy Pearce, Kobe Smulders, Kevin Corrigan, and Giovanni Ribisi. Gemma Bovary. Sorry to the producers if I pronounced that incorrectly. That's a romantic comedy. Heaven Knows What, which is a drama. And that is it. So I guess pretty much just looking at Aloha and San Andreas. So we'll start with Steve. Since he's going to a party, I guess we'll start with him. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Thank you.
What do you think, Steve? Top five.
San Andreas will be what's number one? San Andreas will be number one.
Tomorrowland was number one at like 32 million.
San Andreas will be number one. And Aloha will be not in the top five.
Wow.
Wow, that's a bold prediction.
That is bold.
I'm actually going to say that I'm going to say that San Andreas is number 1. I think Pitch Perfect 2 is going to boost past Tomorrowland to take the number 2 spot, followed by Aloha and then Tomorrowland.
God damn it.
Was that yours?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my prediction. Shit. Well, just to change it up then. I don't want to pick the same thing because that's terrible radio/podcast. So I'll say San Andreas 1, Tomorrowland 2, Aloha 3, and Pitch Perfect 2 4.
Wow. That's a big change from what you originally were going to say.
Take that. But that is it then for my portion.
Oh, wait. I forgot about Mad Max.
Suckers.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Too late. You already made your prediction.
I made my prediction too late.
So did you. You didn't say anything either.
Yeah, that one's going to be number 5, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
All right, then. Moving on to my
Avengers will be out of the top 5 then.
I can't believe that's going to be out of the top 5 already.
I know.
Aloha's not going to make it.
It's the summer, so...
As long as Furious 7 was in the top 5, and Avengers is not going to last that long, like, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Damn you, Manny Pacquiao.
That's Furious 7 was released much earlier, too. I mean, if Age of Ultron came out in, April, beginning of April, it probably would have been top 5 the entire month of April.
Yeah, just another fight Floyd Mayweather ruined.
Are we getting into boxing again?
No.
Okay.
All right, moving on to my end with the DVD and Blu-ray releases for the week. Only 2 worth mentioning, and I will tell you, the 2 of them combined with their Rotten Tomatoes score still don't even equal a fresh rating. Like
good.
That's how good we are this week. Starting off first with The Loft.
Oh, we talked about this.
Starring Carl Urban, James Marsden, and Eric Stone Street. 5 married guys conspire to secretly share a penthouse loft in the city, a place where they can carry out hidden affairs and indulge in their deepest fantasies. But the fantasy becomes a nightmare when they discover the dead body of an unknown woman in the loft, and they realize one of their group must be involved. You don't even have to watch the movie now. That explains it all. $6 million at the box office. Avengers made that in one night. More than that in one night.
Probably 1 hour.
Yeah. 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, 42% from the critics. So buy Netflix or pass. This is a definite pass.
The director's a cop-out because his name's Eric Van Looy, by the way, and he did this exact film in 2008, except with not as many famous people in it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's really the only... I mean, he's got a bunch of other, it looks like, foreign films to his credit. But yeah, he did something called Loft in 2008, and you want to know what the synopsis of that is? 5 close friends, all of them married, share a loft to meet their mistresses. One day they find the body of a young woman in the loft. Since there are only 5 keys to the loft, the 5 men begin to suspect each other of murder.
Well, did you see that it was also made in Belgium?
Yeah.
This isn't his American version of it, that's why.
Well...
He brought it to the U.S.
Either way, it's a pass.
So, alrighty then. So, how about you, Steve?
I wish this movie was cool, but I don't think it is. So I'm going to pass on it too.
Yeah, with the cast that it had, I mean, it should have been better, but oh well. And lastly, with the DVD and Blu-ray releases for the week, Seventh Son, starring Jeff Bridges and Julianne Moore. And Ben Barnes as well. When Mother Malkin, the queen of evil witches, escapes the pit, she was imprisoned by professional monster hunter Spook decades ago and kills his apprentice. He recruits young Tom, the 7th son of the 7th son, to help him. If that doesn't sell you on the movie right there, there's no reason.
Makes sense.
17.2 million at the box office, so pretty poor take. 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. So the 2 of them together are only at a 25%. So it's ridiculous. 31% from the critics. 37% from the critics. So buy Netflix or pass. We'll go to you, Steve, first this time.
I don't think I've ever heard of this movie. So pass.
Adam.
I've watched a little bit of TV this weekend, and I've seen way too many commercials for this.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what channel, though. So sorry.
I don't want to watch it. So.
Yeah, this is a pass. I like Julianne Moore. I like Jeff Bridges, but this movie just is weird and confusing. And technically, wouldn't he be like the 49th son at that point if he's the 7th son of the 7th son?
That's wrong.
That's not how it works.
I guess it depends how many sons those other 7
exponential.
sons have had. If they've each had 7 sons.
Yeah. No, he's the 7th son of the 7th son.
So if each of them had 7 sons before that, 7 times 7.
He's the 14th. He's not the 7th. Not every one of them have 7 sons.
Do you know that? Have you seen the movie?
No, I haven't even seen a preview.
Well, in the preview, they said each person has to have 7 sons.
Oh, well, in that case, you got it.
This conversation is already more than this movie deserves.
Yeah, it's a pass.
All right. And it's a pass for me as well. That is going to wrap it up for the box office for the week. Before we take our first break, we have another segment to do, moving it on to Steve, and he's going to hit us with this week's trailer trash.
Howdy, y'all. It's time for the trailer trash. Cletus, I thought I told you to sit down and shut up.
What do you got for us this week, Steve?
Kick off with Vacation, which is the newest version of vacation movies. Rusty Gridwald takes his own family on a road trip to Wally World in order to spice things up with his wife and reconnect with his sons. Rusty is played by Ed Helms, and his wife is Christina Applegate, so it's kind of a reboot, I guess would be the right word, with those two as the parents rather than Chevy Chase and the
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, the person I can't think of that's in Entourage. So yeah, it comes out July 29th, 2015, and it looks like it's pretty close to what you're going to get from the past vacation movies. Chris Hemsworth and Leslie Mann make appearances as well. So what do you guys think of the new Vacation reboot, Adam?
Well, the Red Band trailer, at least that I saw, was pretty funny. A couple of the scenes in it. So I'll check it out. I mean, what's funny to me is the way IMDb lists people. I guess it's based on their star meter. So Chris Hemsworth is listed first, even though he's in, I think, one scene.
He'll be in about 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. And he's in the Red Band trailer though, so he made it into that.
His hammer will get more attention than he does.
Good one.
Yeah.
It's got a good cast though. Chris Hemsworth, Leslie Mann, Chevy Chase, Christina Applegate, Ed Helms, Keegan-Michael Key's even in it. Charlie Day apparently is in it. Looking at the directors, John Francis Daley is pretty well known, not for directing, but he's been in a ton of stuff, and he's actually pretty funny. I think he was in what is it, Freaks and Geeks.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that for me, this one, for the trailer, if I'm going off the trailer alone, I'll actually give it a trash to treasure.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Usually once I give my rating, the next person can go.
All right, jackass. Oh, by the way, a friend of ours over at the Caffeine Crew, who we've mentioned before too, gave us a title for the one in the middle, because he's been listening to our podcast. So a shout out to Rob for this. But he thinks we should call the ones in the middle, putting them in the recycle bin.
Yep, recycle them up.
So there we go.
And with reduce, reuse, recycle.
There you go. With that being said, that's exactly where I'm putting this one. Is in the recycle bin. I'm a big fan of the original Vacation movie, the first one where they go to Wally World. Of course, you can't forget National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. European Vacation was good. Vegas Vacation was horrible. So these
what?
What with Vegas Vacation?
Yes.
Come on.
What was wrong with Vegas Vacation?
It was horrible.
I want a car.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It had its moments, but compared to the other movies, it's horrible. I mean, you had Ethan Embry playing.
Steve, are you more on Ben's side or my side when it comes to Vegas?
Movies, so
you hate all of them?
Yes. Put me in the minority of America. I don't like them. I don't like them at all.
What?
They just bother me.
Everybody tells me their favorite's Christmas.
It's so slapstick. I can't take it.
You don't even like Christmas Vacation?
Nope.
Oh, man. Adam, I think I'm joining your side. We need to replace Steve.
I never said replace him.
And messages outside of the podcast, you have to.
No proof.
You're right, because I reformatted my phone, so they're gone.
No proof.
Damn it.
I can't believe you hated you thought Vegas Vacation was terrible.
I thought Vegas Vacation was the best one. Where does that
That's what I thought.
Oh my god. Maybe it's just the different generations. It's horrible.
I win the money.
The money is mine.
Yeah. Vegas Vacation, I take it back. Vegas Vacation it's better than Paddington.
Yes. What?
Yes.
Oh my god, you guys are
This
crazy.
conversation is taking a 360.
I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, there's a new vacation movie.
Vacation movie. I
guess we know where Steve stands on this movie. If he thinks on
Burn it.
I think it's going to have some moments. I don't know if I'll go see it in theaters, but I'll definitely check it out. So yeah, I'm going to put it in the recycle bin.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add?
No.
No.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah.
The next movie is called We Are Your Friends. And it is a movie about an aspiring DJ who looks to make it in the LA electronic music scene. Max Joseph is the writer and director, who you may know from Catfish, the TV show. Zac Efron, who you may know from being Zac Efron. Johnny Weston, who I'm not really sure if he's famous at all. And
you may not know from anything.
Emily Ratajkowski, who is famous for being the naked chick in the Blurred Lines video.
Yes, she is.
That's her.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Trash to treasure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adam. Start talking. That's fine. Start.
The synopsis should really be like the origin story of Pauly D, because that's what it looks like.
That'd be cool. I watched that movie.
The guy did MTV, so he did Catfish.
He actually had to skip the first 4 seasons of season 3 of Catfish, the TV show, to film the movie. So he's dedicated to this.
Well, sorry, dude. Dumpster fire.
Are you done?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Ben.
I will tell you right now, and I may get shamed for this, but ever since the movie 17 again, I have been a fan of Zac Efron's.
Fantastic. Keep talking.
I think like Charlie St. Cloud and some other movies he's done, I've been a fan. Not obviously after the High School Musical bullshit. I never got it. I've never even seen those movies.
He's lying.
No, I'm not lying. I will.
After he saw 17 again, he went back and watched all 10 High School Musical movies.
And you throw Neighbors in there as well too with Seth Rogen, and it's
that's a good one. I'll give him that
one. So I'm a fan of his. I'll check it out. I don't know if I'll go into theaters to see it. Again, this is going to be another one I'm going to put in the recycle bin.
This comes out on August 28th, 2015. I'm not sure about this. I guess this is a recycle bin, but it's closer to the dumpster fire than it is to the treasure pile. I won't go out of my way to see it at all. I don't think it didn't interest me too much, but believe it or not, this is the kind of music that I like, so it might pique an interest in that sense. But I'm not going to go out of my way to see it, I don't think.
I still haven't figured out why 17 again is the movie that turned Ben around on Zac Efron.
Yeah, that's a topic, I think.
It was more combination Zac Efron and Matthew Perry, because I was a Matthew Perry fan at the time from Friends.
Yep.
Wasn't he only in like 10 minutes of the movie though?
No, he's in the beginning and the end. So, and Leslie Mann is in it too, who we mentioned from Vacation.
She is indeed.
So I liked it. It was a good movie.
Cool. Next topic. Cooties is the next movie. We're kind of going from comedy to more serious if you haven't gotten that yet, but which you wouldn't have because you don't know what the next movies are. Cooties is the next one, which is an action comedy horror that will come out September 18th, 2015. Synopsis is a mysterious virus hits an isolated elementary school, transforming the kids into a feral swarm of mass savages. An unlucky hero must lead a motley band of teachers in the fight of their lives. Directed by Jonathan Mallow and Carrie Murnian. Stars include Elijah Wood, Allison Pill, who is the blonde lead from The Newsroom, if you watch that, Rainn Wilson, I think that's about it. Jack McBrayer makes an appearance. And
Nassim Pedra, Jorge Garcia. There's a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cameo comedy type thing. Ben, you can start this time around. What do you think? About
I will tell you right now, I cannot wait to see this. This is an absolute,
straight up your alley.
This is an absolute trash to treasure for me. I love campy, goofy horror stuff like this. I'm a fan of Rainn Wilson too, and him and Elijah Wood, I think, seem to be the two leads in this movie. And this seems like a part right up Rainn Wilson's alley. This is an absolute trash to treasure. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Without having seen all of Shaun of the Dead, and I know you probably hate me for saying that, does this have a kind of Americanized feel, Shaun of the Dead feel to it for you?
I can't tell that just by the trailer. I think so. I think it's very similar to that. But I can't talk to you anymore because you haven't finished Shaun of the Dead.
I don't own it, so.
Well, you can talk to the viewers. So, what do you think about Cooties?
Oh, in that case, then I think it could be. I think it could be pretty similar to Shaun of the Dead.
They haven't seen Shaun of the Dead either.
Well,
they're not allowed to listen.
We should have a Shaun of the Dead viewing party for our listeners.
Yeah, I do want to watch it. It's not that I don't.
So it's one of my all-time favorite movies ever.
So this is a trash to treasure for you, said.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
No question.
Without also, like I said, having seen Shaun of the Dead, I'm actually going to give it a trash to treasure also because it looks really funny. It's got a great cast. I'm a big Rainn Wilson guy. Elijah Wood doesn't necessarily strike me as comedic, but he did really well in Wilfred. Yeah, I was going to say Wilson. I'm like, that's not it.
It's a volleyball.
Yeah. By the way, Steve, you mentioned the directors. This is actually their directorial debut.
Yeah, both of them. It's their first movie.
Exactly. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give it a trash to treasure.
Yeah, this is a sweep. I hope this is really cool, just because I like the premise of it. I guess the zombie movies are still in, like we talked about with Lucky Yates, and I just hope that the execution is good and not everything good was in the trailer, because the trailer does a really good job of interesting me in the movie. So this is a trash to treasure for me as well, for sure.
I just love the fact that it's a movie about a virus that only affects people until they hit puberty.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah,
that's so great.
Also, it's rated R, so it's not going to hold back, even though it's like kids are the zombies. But it's rated R, so it looks like it's not going to hold anything back on, I don't know, maybe the gore, but also with the language and the content as well. So I think that'll be good.
Do we know for sure that they're zombies? Like, it's never really mentioned. I think it's.
I'm equating it to a zombie movie.
Yeah, it's similar.
It's a virus. Yeah.
Cool. And then the next movie we have here is The Intern, which is going to come out in September of this year, and it's another comedy. 70-year-old widower Ben Whitaker, who is played by Robert De Niro, has discovered that retirement isn't all it's cracked up to be. So seizing an opportunity to get back in the game, he becomes a senior intern at an online fashion site founded and run by Jules Osteen, who is played by Anne Hathaway. So we have a comedy with a pair of Academy Award winners in it. Adam Devine is also in the movie. And Anders, if you ever seen Workaholics, Renee Russo is in it. She's one of the other big build in the movie. What did you think of the trailer for The Intern, Adam?
Well, when I first saw it, I was like, is this basically like The Internship with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn? But it's not. It's actually, it looks almost like more of like a rom-com, which I kind of got a really weird feel from it. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a dumpster fire.
Fair enough. What do you got, Ben?
See, I'm on the complete opposite side of the fence with this. Like, because I've been watching trailers of comedies lately. This is the first one where the trailer actually had me laughing out loud while I was watching it. And
you also like 17 again.
Shut up.
Fair. That's completely fair.
You guys are jerks. I think this looks pretty good. I mean, De Niro, obviously you can't go wrong with him. Anne Hathaway is great. She's not singing in this one, Adam, so you should be fine. And she's in all of the movie, not just 10 minutes.
You seen that one, Steve?
Les Mis?
Oh no, I was thinking. I thought you were saying Wrecking Ball.
Oh yeah, I have seen that one.
Okay.
So I'm going to give this a trash to treasure. I think this looks pretty good.
I'm going to go in the middle, and so that we have all three. I'm going to do the recycle bin on this one, just because I'm not sure that I'm going to see it in the theater. And when I do a trash to treasure, it's I'm going to go make an effort to go and see this one when it comes out in the theater. I think it's going to be good, just because it has the feel of being a good rom-com that you won't admit that you really liked if a bunch of guys ask you, but you really liked it when you watched it.
Like 17 again?
Nope.
Not at all like that.
But so I think it has the opportunity to be good, and it probably will be a good movie. But I'm not sure that I'm gonna go to the movies and spend money on it. So that's a recycle binner for me.
I think it's gonna be more geared towards women. That's just my forewarning. Looking at what what's the director's name? Nancy Meyers. She did The Holiday, Something's Gotta Give, What Women Want.
Which are all good movies, by the way.
Right, they all did well.
They flashed them in the trailer as well to try to brag about the same person as doing this movie, which makes sense.
Right. I mean, they all did well, but they're not really movies that I would go see in the theaters.
Yep, that's fair.
She also did The Parent Trap, though, with Lindsay Lohan.
Which is a movie I would see in the theater.
Exactly.
So next up, and not finally, because we're doing 6 this week, because I proved myself, we have Pan. Which is essentially it's an origin story of Peter Pan, but the synopsis is a story of an orphan who is spirited away to the magical Neverland. There he finds both fun and dangers, and ultimately discovers his destiny to become the hero who will forever be known as Peter Pan. This will be coming out October 9th, 2015. Adventure family fantasy, obviously, Peter Pan movie. Hugh Jackman is the main character. He plays Blackbeard, who it's kind of a Blackbeard origin story as well, as far as Peter Pan goes anyway. Rooney Mara is in it, plays Tiger Lily. Amanda Seyfried makes an appearance. Cara Delevingne is in it as well. And IMDb is telling me the top billed are Levi Miller and Jimmy V, but I'm not sure.
And Garrett Hedlund from Tron Legacy is also in it, playing Captain Hook. Or playing Hook. I don't think he's Captain yet.
Yeah, I think it was weird.
It's just...
I guess we can get into it when we start talking about the trailer. So go ahead and start talking about the trailer, Ben, and see what...
I saw the advanced on this during Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, because he had Hugh Jackman on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they showed the trailer for this. I think it looks interesting. I don't remember Blackbeard ever being a part of the Peter Pan lore. So I'm very intrigued to see where that's going to happen. And again, I think Hook almost starts off as a good guy in this as well.
Yeah.
Which anybody who's ever seen Once Upon a Time on ABC know, like, they've turned Hook into a good guy too. And I actually like that. I think that's good. So, but then you go with movies like Hook with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman, and Hook is a fantastic bad guy. So I think it can go either way. I don't know what to expect from this, so I think visually it's going to be spectacular. Story-wise, I'm not sure. I need to see more, so I'm going to put it in the recycle bin for now.
Yeah,
go ahead, Adam.
you kind of said a little bit of what I was going to say as far as visuals go. I think the visuals, just by looking at the trailer, are going to be really, really good. I want to like this movie, but I'm kind of on Ben's side with this, where I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like it.
Fair enough.
And the trailer didn't do enough for me to tell me that I'm going to like it, so I'm also going to leave it in the recycle bin.
Cool. And then just to clean some things up, Levi Miller, I don't know if he's been in anything before, but he's playing Peter Pan. That's why he's top billed. And then Blackbeard, Hugh Jackman, like you said, was on The Tonight Show. And obviously Peter Pan is a book. And there's one line that mentions Blackbeard and Peter Pan. So this writer essentially took that one line from Peter Pan and made it into an entire movie. So that's why Blackbeard is kind of the main bad guy. And like you said, Hook kind of seems to be Peter Pan's friend, at least from the trailer. So that's kind of a different twist on it.
Yeah.
But as far as everything else goes, I think I'm just going to agree with you guys and make it another sweep that this is kind of a recycle bin one. It's a good kids movie, I think. It's not rated or anything, but the fact that family is one of the categories, I don't think it's going to be too intense for kids. It's going to be probably a good family movie. So if you're a parent or something like that, it might be a treasure movie. But for adults like us or people with kids that are too young to understand what a movie is, then I think we'll leave it in the recycle bin across the board.
Gotcha.
And then finally, we end with a documentary which most people probably have heard of. It's Bat Kid Begins. The Wish heard around the world. This was a social media firestorm, essentially, back in 2013, I believe it was. So on one day in one city, which was San Francisco, the world comes together to grant a 5-year-old cancer patient his wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Bat Kid Begins looks at the why of this flash phenomenon. So essentially, why this story took the world by storm and set social media ablaze for however long it did. So yeah, it's kind of a why, but it's also a documentary into this 5-year-old's life and talks about his Make-A-Wish Foundation where he becomes Batman, because that was kind of his wish, but they set it up in a much more elaborate sense where he got to rescue people and fight the Penguin and the Riddler and things like that. So it's kind of a cool documentary looking into that day for him. Ben, it was your idea to throw this into our trailer trash for the week, so you can go ahead and start.
The reason why I wanted to put this in there, obviously, if I recommended to put it in there, it's because I had a very strong opinion of it, and not saying yet which way or the other, but I remember this story when it happened. It happened out in San Francisco, I believe.
Yeah.
And
I think we talked about it last year.
I think we did.
Podcast,
yeah, I think we did too. And
this is P.S. Steve.
It was such a heartwarming story. You know, it's the Make-A-Wish Foundation stepped up to do this thing for this kid, and it just, as Steve said, it took over like wildfire on social media and became a huge thing all over the country, even though it was only in one city out on the West Coast. And like people flew out there just to be a part of this. And I watched the trailer. I didn't know much about the story other than the fact that people stepped up to help out and things like that. But even watching the trailer, I learned more about the story. And those heartwarming feelings came back to me again. So without a doubt, like this is something I'm going to watch. If it's in theaters, I might go to theaters to see it. If it's rate the video, I will absolutely check it out. This is 100% a trash to treasure for me. I want to see this movie.
The release date's set for June 26th, but it doesn't exactly say where or how it will be released. But a little bit later in the month. Well, I guess in a month or so. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to give this, a dumpster fire? Come on. I'm not going to give this a dumpster fire. This is easily a trash to treasure. I mean, this is one that's people are going to be crying in the theaters. It looks great, though. It was such a phenomenon, and I, too, like Ben said, remember when this happened. And it was in the news for multiple weeks. It was in there for, the 1 week it was like, oh, this is going to happen. You know, it's the word of mouth was spreading, and then the day it happened, it was talked about all the time, and then like even a week or so after that. So it really was just this crazy, wildfire, like they said, spread like wildfire. So I actually think that not that the documentary is just looking at the event itself, but why it happened is actually a really cool way to look at it. You know what I mean? They're not just documenting the fact that it happened. So props to the people who decided to do this documentary is to figure out why it happened the way it did and why it was so popular. So I'm definitely interested to see what they have to say about it. And yeah, I mean, this is a trash to treasure.
Yep, I think it's pretty obvious that, I mean, if you have a chance to see it, you should probably see it. I think I heard about it when the San Francisco Giants picked it up, and they kind of made a big deal about it, which was always good to have that kind of social media following and use it for good. So, yeah, like you said, everybody kind of used their social media for good on that day and made this kid's dream come true. So it would be cool to see the documentary and see what happened and how it happened and things like that. So Yeah, I don't know if I'll see it in a theater, but hopefully it comes out on TV, or maybe one of the premium channels will pick it up or something like that. It'd be cool to check it out and see what happens.
Might see it pop up on Netflix too.
Yeah, it's good Netflix bait, I would think.
I bet. Yeah, I think that at some point this ends up on HBO.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And then, that kind of closes it for the movies that I had planned. We had a bunch of other ones lined up. If you guys wanted to talk about one of the other ones, if we had time, we can. But for me, at least, that kind of closes the lid for this week's trailers.
I think we could probably hold off. We could probably save them for next week.
Sounds good to me.
So, Adam, you cool with that?
Sure.
So, cool. That's going to wrap it up for Steve's Trailer Trash. Then you'll be able to find. I haven't done it for the past couple weeks just because I forgot that we were doing it. But I'll have all these trailers up on the website under the Trailer Trash tab, www.nextlevelradioonline.com. Also follow us on Twitter at NXT Level Radio. What am I forgetting? Oh, Facebook. Facebook.com/nextlevelradioonline.
Tinder.
We're not on Tinder. We're not on Tinder. Rather be on
swipe left.
You picked the wrong one. So
damn it, swipe right.
We also neglected to mention, in the beginning of the podcast, our interview. Who we're interviewing this week? Who our interviewers with this week? Which is Bern Gorman from AMC's Turn. Washington,
many other things.
Washington Spies. Oh my God, he was such a great interview. We're going to have that interview coming up for you in a little bit, but when we come back from this break, we're going to have our Next Level News. We're going to go over Netflix for the month of June, and then again we'll have the Bern Gorman interview a little bit later on. So stick around, and we'll be back.
Hey everyone, this is TJ Fine from Bones, and you're listening to the Showcast on Next Level Radio.
Isn't that movie that you had mentioned earlier?
Yeah, that's the one. No, it's a TV show with Elijah Wood.
That's it, Wilson. Yeah, the one about the dog.
Exactly.
Wilfred. So, and going back to the sound clip that we played at the end of the last segment, that will make more sense when we talk about when we come back from the Bern Gorman interview. But I love that clip. I'm so happy you isolated it and kept it, and I'm sure it will be used a ton.
Oh yes.
So, but let's move on with this podcast again so Steve can get back to his Memorial Day party. And let's move on with the Next Level News for the week.
This is Next Level News.
All right, 5 stories. We'll try and push through these pretty quick. Starting off first, Brad Pitt's World War Z sequel set for June 9th, 2017. Paramount Pictures has set a June 9th, 2017 release date for the sequel to World War Z. Variety, which is where the story comes from, reported a year ago that the studio had hired Stephen Knight to write the sequel, which is co-financed by Skydance, which is, I believe, Brad Pitt's production company. And J.A. Bayona from The Impossible will direct the zombie tentpole with Brad Pitt returning in the starring role. So, moving on next, Transformers adds Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman to expanding creative brain trust. This kind of... Was that...
What?
Just move on.
Okay.
Speaking of Transformers, we'll have TJ Miller on in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
He unfortunately won't be in the sequel.
So, well, no. If you've seen the last one,
you got
know why. This kind of restores my hope a little bit in the Transformers franchise, even though the last one was horrible.
So wait, you're telling me though I should not do that impersonation ever again? That was bad.
If you tell me what it was supposed to be, baby.
It was supposed to be him transforming.
That's how bad it was that Steve didn't even know what it was supposed to be.
Honestly, when
a monkey.
Honestly, yeah. When you said it, I thought he said I heard it wrong, but he said Planet of the Apes, but I heard Transformers somehow. And
that's it's like a higher pitch. I
anyway.
want to hear your Transformer noises.
I wouldn't try to make one.
Anyway, from the studio that brought you 4 Transformers movies comes more Transformers movies. Yay. EW has confirmed a Deadline report that Paramount is aggressively marvelizing their beloved franchise about robot alien cars and the fleshy human blood bags. Who wrote this article?
What? Fleshy human blood bags?
Yeah. Who talk up towards them. They've already been working on expanding the Transformers universe, and now they brought together a writing brain trust.
Are you going to cross over with Guardians of the Galaxy or something?
That would be very interesting.
Ninja Turtles, that would be the crossover.
Hey, if they can combine 21 Jump Street with Men in Black, anything is possible. You do know they are doing that, right?
Yes.
Okay. But anyway, Robert Kirkman has been added to the writers. Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead. So we're going to see zombie Transformers, probably, at some point. So. Now You See Me 3 in the works at Lionsgate.
Wait, is there a 2?
Here we go. Hold on. Lionsgate has begun developing Now You See Me 3 a year before it releases Now You See Me 2 on June 10th, 2016 as part of its strategy to focus on franchises.
Now you see me, even though you've already seen me twice before. Don't pretend like you didn't see me, though, because now you see me.
John Feltheimer, the CEO of Lionsgate, says production has wrapped on Now You See Me 2. Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Dave Franco, Morgan Freeman, and Michael Caine are all reprising their roles, while Lizzie Kaplan has replaced Isla Fisher from the first one as well. The first one's not a bad movie. I've seen it, and it's not bad. So I'll be interested to see what the sequels look like.
It's on my list of things to see. Not hugely happy about the replacement of Isla Fisher, though.
No, me neither. I thought she was a good role for that. That was a good role for her.
Lizzie Kaplan's not a great replacement.
Well, we'll see. Moving on to more comic book movie news. Jaden Smith confirmed as Static Shock by Tyler Jason Williams. Yeah, I know. During a recent interview, actor Tyler Jason Williams from The Walking Dead pointed out that there aren't a lot of young black superheroes. 2 people in the background can be heard shouting Static Shock and Spider-Man. I don't know what you're... this is another poorly written article.
Another article Ben didn't read before the show.
It's great, but he confirms in this conversation. But yeah, it's great to see Static Shock is happening with Jaden.
I can't follow this.
Basically, to sum it up, Jaden Smith is going to be playing Static Shock in the DC universe.
Did you see his prom outfit?
The white Batman suit?
He did a Batman suit, and he did, like, reverse.
Yeah, it was white.
Yeah.
So, but I'm leaning more towards the fact that this is how they got Will Smith to play Deadshot, is they promised Jaden Smith a role in the DC universe.
Yeah, probably. Like Lucky Yates said, Will Smith's goal now is to get all his children in movies.
And, so. I mean, can we, let them get the roles on their own? Seriously.
He's not that good of an actor.
No, I mean, and this is the only reason he has an acting career is because Will Smith is promising things to get him roles.
Have you seen After Earth? Seriously.
I have not.
Not good. And that's being generous.
So, but we're gonna see him.
Speaking of, in the article, somewhere in all that mumbo jumbo that you read, it mentioned about lack of African American representation in superheroes. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you saw this article, Michael B. Jordan had taken a lot of flack on the internet for being Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm, yeah, I did see that.
So it's such a double-edged thing, but I don't know why it matters, to be honest. Nick Fury is white in the comics, and
he's played by
Samuel L. Jackson does a great job.
Yeah. Hey, look, Kingpin was white in the comics, too, and played by Michael Clark Duncan the first time around.
Also did a great job.
He did. But moving on from
Black Panther is played by a white guy.
No, he's not.
That'd be weird.
That would suck. But moving on from young African Americans to women superheroes, this is funny. CBS's Supergirl pilot leaks to piracy sites.
Already?
And I have it. I have not watched it yet, but I will. Even though I'm going to have to wait the rest of the summer to see the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm not all that excited for that one, though.
I am. I think it looks
I feel like I should be more excited. That trailer, did you see the trailer? It was like 6 minutes long.
Yeah, the first look.
Yeah.
Trailer. High-quality copies of the pilot for CBS's drama Supergirl, which isn't set to air until November, leaked onto file-sharing pirate sites early on Friday.
You have to Dropbox that to me.
They did that on purpose.
I think they did, too. And that's what I'm thinking about.
Didn't they do this with the Flash, too?
The Flash actually did drop, but they mentioned that they did it intentionally with the Flash.
Yeah. I think in a few months they might do the same thing.
The interesting thing about that too, and that's going to wrap it up for Next Level News. But the interesting thing about this is when the Flash was leaked, it was still watermarked that it belonged to CW and DC.
Right.
This one is, and it wasn't HD. I mean, it was regular standard definition or 720 at the most. This is a full 1080p, no watermarked version of the pilot. Like, this is what you would see aired.
Yeah, how do you... That press can't even get those.
Yeah, so I think...
All the press ones are watermarked.
Yeah, because even when we get stuff from Fox, it's watermarked. So, I mean, it's...
Yeah, everything we get.
I think Steve's right. I think CBS did this on purpose.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I mean, because honestly, it's so easy for, like, anybody can... Not anybody, but a lot of people have access to these type of things, the screenings and stuff. Blogs, things of that nature. It is so easy for those things to get leaked. And for something to be leaked on this type of magnitude, it kind of almost has to come from the network.
Yeah, I agree. So, but moving forward with the podcast as well, let's move from television shows that are yet to premiere to television shows that are on Netflix and movies that are on Netflix. As Adam runs down movies that are leaving and movies that are coming into Netflix for the month of June.
And TV shows.
Let's
not forget those.
Netflix content.
Yes, Netflix is adding 60, dropping 55 so for the first time in, I feel like, months, you're getting a net gain out of Netflix this month. Let's start with what's leaving. So you have until June 1st to watch most of this stuff, so you get a week. Bram Stoker's Dracula, City of Ghosts, Dance With Me, Deep Blue Sea, leaving Netflix. DeRay Davis Power Play, Dream Lover, Drugs Inc. seasons 2 through 3, Ever After, A Cinderella Story, Frankie and Johnny, G.I. Jane, which I've never seen.
Not bad.
Okay. Garfield and Friends Volumes 1 through 2.
What?
Yeah, sorry. Hatchet 2. I Escaped a Cult, which is a cult classic.
That sounds intense.
Ink Master Season 1, Inside Combat Rescue Season 1, Last Action Hero.
Oh, man.
Also, Pitch Perfect, the first one.
Oh, that sucks.
I didn't even know that was on Netflix.
I didn't either. I'm going to watch it.
Platoon Leader, Rain Man, also leaving Netflix. Reign Over Me, also leaving Netflix.
Good movie.
Yeah, that is a good one. Silence of the Lambs, leaving Netflix.
Good movie.
Snatch, Soul Survivors, Swept Away, Syriana, Tank Girl. I don't know what that's about.
Lori Petty.
The Great Queen Siendiak, The Perfect Husband, The Lacey Peterson Story. I feel like that's not accurate. Phantom of the Opera Special Edition, The Rocketeer is leaving on June 1st. That's a good movie. That's a classic.
I have that on Blu-ray. That's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a classic. The Triplets of Belleville and Walking Life. Those are all June 1st. There's a few more things leaving after that. So June 6th is Cirque du Soleil, Worlds Away.
Yay.
I guess they rhymed intentionally. Ida Bella Hay. What do you say? I just may. Crash is also leaving on June 6th. June 15th, The River Why and Tin Man. June 17th, I think it's a biopic about Ben's life. Dummy.
Hey!
Leaving June 17th. June 20th, Amadeus. Collateral Damage was actually a pretty good movie. Lonesome Dove or Dove, I'm not sure. I assume it's going to be Dove.
It's Dove.
Practical Magic and The Guilt Trip. June 22nd, Madonna, the MDNA Tour. Get it while you can.
Should be going already.
It's actually pretty late in the month, so you got a month. Stand Up Guys also leaving June 22nd. June 28th, Beautiful, spelled Biutiful. So probably a foreign film. June 29th, Iron Man Armored Adventures Season 1 through 2. And then Texas Chainsaw, 2013 version of that. The June 30th, the final list, which is actually a pretty decent amount of movies that are good. Donnie Brasco, Godzilla, the 1998 version. Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters with Jeremy Renner.
I thought you said
Where's
these were
the
good
good
movies. Yeah.
Okay, there's one good movie. There's two good movies. Jack Reacher, which
That was a good one.
that wasn't too bad. I saw that.
Would have been better if it was Keanu.
Nope.
I disagree. National Security, leaving June 30th. Steel Magnolias, leaving June 30th.
National Security is a good movie, too.
Taxi Driver, and the best one of all, and also the last one that's leaving, season 1 of The Babysitters Club.
What?
Yeah. So I got to binge watch that in the next month.
Yeah.
Let's go to what they're adding. Let's see if it equates to anything good. Do you want me to go through all of them or just highlight some stuff?
Just highlight most of the stuff that we would know.
Okay. La Dictadura Perfecta.
Good start.
Employee of the Month. R.L. Stein's Mostly Ghostly.
Which Employee of the Month? There's actually 2 movies with that title, then they're only...
2006.
Okay, because I think they're only maybe 3 years apart.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is one of them with Dane Cook, or am I thinking of
Yes,
something else?
one of them is with Dane Cook. The other one is with...
Matt Dillon.
Yeah, Matt Dillon. Yeah.
And Steve Zahn, like Steve said. Yeah, this is the Dane Cook one, so no need to watch that. R.L. Stein's Mostly Ghostly. Should be Dr. Seuss's Mostly Ghostly. I thought R.L. Stein did Goosebumps, didn't he?
Sure did.
R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour. Don't think about it. Shaquille O'Neal Presents. All-Star Comedy Jam live from Atlanta. Also coming out June 1st. Shaquille O'Neal Presents All-Star Comedy Jam live from Las Vegas. Also coming out June 1st. Shaquille O'Neal Presents All-Star Comedy Jam live from Orlando.
We got the point.
That's the last one. There are 3 separate ones, okay? The Aviator.
Good movie.
June 3rd, Best of Me. Hector and the Search for Happiness.
Yay!
June 5th, Sense8, which we talked about in our trailer trash.
Boo.
June 9th, Free the Nipple.
What?
I feel like have we talked about that?
I think we did, because that sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it's a documentary, isn't it? Or no, it's a dramedy.
It's a dramedy.
I think we talked about it like in box office at one point. June 10th, Nightcrawler. Ooh. Wait,
Is that the Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it is. Yeah, that one I will definitely be checking out. Especially since it was, I guess that was a snub, right, at the Oscars?
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty Little Liars Season 5. We have Steve and I have actually all 3 of us have a mutual friend who watches that show and is a guy.
It is a guy.
We do?
And
Yeah.
drinks Bud Light Lime out of a can.
Yeah.
Who is this?
I don't want to dirty his good name on
first initial?
national television podcast, whatever they are. It's an R.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his last name's Johnson.
That actually, for anybody who doesn't know him, that doesn't narrow it down because that's like
That could be
500,000 people.
Yeah, that could be anybody.
So that was a good hint. Oh, this is good for me because I didn't get any of this season. But June 11th, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2 already coming out on Netflix.
Nice.
So that'll be good. I need to watch that.
Good season, too. That's a pretty quick turnaround, too.
Yeah. The finale was what, a week ago?
Yeah, like a week or 2 ago, yeah. That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Which is good because that's one that I do want to get caught up on. I heard this was a good season.
It was a really good season.
I don't know how this is possible. June 11th, also coming out The Legend and The Legend 2. The reason I don't know how this is possible, it said that they both came out in 1993.
Meaning what?
So that the sequel came out the same year as the original?
Could have been.
Okay. Seems legit. That's a Jet Li movie, so I guess that's possible.
Hey, if they can make 5 Transformers movies.
It's true. June 12th, this is a big one for Orange is the New Black fans, which doesn't include me or Lucky Yates, apparently. Season 3 of that comes out on June 12th.
I thought you were going to name a different show just to, screw around. When you said it's like big news for Orange is the New Black fans, it's there's Shaggy.
Yeah, I should have. I'm not that funny.
No.
June 13th, Scandal Season 4. And by the way, you could have at least been nice and said, you're pretty funny. You just right away, you're like, no.
I know. Well,
no, I'm not that
you
funny.
You called me dummy.
No, I just said the movie's about you. It could have been about a lot of things.
You indirectly called me dummy.
For all the Orange is the New Black haters, the season 3 premiere, the title of the episode is "It's the Great Blumpkin, Charlie Brown."
Oh my god!
So haters gonna hate, but that show's awesome.
I couldn't get into it.
That is ridiculous.
Speaking of the 5 Transformers, The Age of Extinction, the 4th one, coming out June 13th on Netflix.
Hey, does T.J. Miller make it to the end of that movie?
No.
Okay.
Were you being serious?
No, I've seen the movie. I know he doesn't.
Yeah. He gets zapped in the first, 10 minutes.
No, he makes it longer than that.
Is he?
Yeah.
It was still disappointing when he died. It all happened so fast. It wasn't even dramatic. He got zapped, and then they're like, all right, let's keep going.
I was still traumatized by the fact that it was a movie. In general.
I saw that movie at a drive-in.
I'm sorry.
That's kind of cool.
It was cool. It actually made it somewhat entertaining. June 15th, Bindy's Boot Camp Season 1, which is right up there with Orange is the New Black. Pussy Riot, a punk prayer.
What was that, Steve?
It's the Great Blumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's genius.
Still on that. I love it. Yeah.
Danger Mouse Seasons 1 through 10.
Danger, really?
Oddly enough, same episode title as Orange is the New Black.
Seriously, Danger Mouse is coming to Netflix?
All 10 seasons.
Oh, that is awesome. I'm legit excited about that.
I know you know this, Ben, but and it wasn't, I don't think I remember seeing it on any of our list. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, I just actually started watching him the other day.
It's on Netflix. Maybe that's a late edition, because I don't remember.
It's only the first season.
Okay. I'm sure the more are to come.
I hope so.
Probably one of the greatest films of 2015 on June 16th coming out on Netflix is Backstreet Boys, Show 'Em What You're Made Of.
There you go.
Curious George, also coming out June 16th. Lee Daniels, The Butler, June 16th.
I might actually check that one out.
2 Days, One Night, coming out on June 16th.
2 Girls, 1 Cup.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. I was gonna go ahead and avoid it, but you sure as hell decided not to.
Right to it.
June 19th, Some Assembly Required, A Most Wanted Man. June 20th, Cake. I'm trying to find some actual things we might have heard of here. June 26th, Katy Perry, The Prismatic World Tour. It's pretty bad when that's the one I have to go to. That's pretty much it. There's a couple other things. Ballet 422, Beyond the Lights, What Happened, Miss Simone, Dragons, Race to the Edge Season 1, and that's pretty much it.
Most Wanted Man is Philip Seymour Hoffman's final movie, so that could be worth seeing.
Which one?
Most Wanted Man.
Okay. That comes out June 19th.
Well, I'll have to check that one out too. So I'm seriously stoked about Danger Mouse. I haven't seen that show in decades.
Especially that Blumpkin episode.
I know. It's the one I'm most looking forward to.
I can't believe that's the name of it.
Genius. Haters gonna hate.
So
I'm gonna watch it just for that.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up then for Netflix.
Yeah, that is it for Netflix.
Cool. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we are going to have our interview with Bern Gorman from AMC's Turn, Washington Spies, as well as a number of other different things. I know we got to geek out with him a little bit on some other stuff, too. So we'll have that interview when we come back, and then after that, we'll wrap it up. And so stick around. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Kim Coates. I play Tig Traeger on Sons of Anarchy. You're listening to Next Level Radio. Hold on to your seats and grab the dogs. Things are crazy on this show. Wow.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Showcast. And our guest this week is someone whose career has spanned all sorts of great projects over the years. You've seen him in movies such as The Dark Knight, Pacific Rim, one of my personal favorites, which is Johnny English Reborn. Also on TV, TV projects, TV shows such as Revenge, Game of Thrones, and now he can be seen in AMC's Turn, Washington Spies. Please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Bern Gorman. Bern, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. That is what I call an introduction. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. I feel like I have to apologize ahead of time, though, just because we may jump around a little bit, because as I said, you have so much that you've done over your career, and I want to get to at least as much of it as possible within the time that we have with you. So before we go any further, I want to jump right to AMC's Turn, because that's what you're currently on right now. So for people who are listening who haven't seen it yet, what can you tell us about the show and your character?
Okay, so I'm trying to not come across as a history nerd, but this is like one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on. This is a drama on AMC about essentially the America's first spy ring. It is a true story based on these true American heroes who basically helped turn the tide of the war against the British in the Revolutionary War. And it's essentially a spy story, which is very exciting, about these incredible, very normal people. We're in season 2 now. And it's getting further and further into the maze. But they were absolute heroes that really did turn the tide of the war, and that George Washington set up the spy ring. It's a very interesting story.
And they were like essentially farmers that started this spy ring, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty unglamorous. Like the main character is played by the great actor Jamie Bell, and he plays a cabbage farmer, which doesn't sound exceedingly glamorous. But yeah, these guys were a bunch of childhood friends, and the reason they were never discovered, these letters were found in the 1930s that had these code names on them. This in Washington's correspondence. And but at the time they were never discovered. They were childhood friends. They would never let anyone else in to the group. They had these, very new spy techniques. Back then, it was a very ungentlemanly thing to do to be a spy. It wasn't like, the image that perhaps we have nowadays of, James Bond or whatever. It was kind of frowned upon, really. Mm-hmm. By the generals anyway. But these were just a group of very ordinary people who were, didn't want to be pushed around anymore, and so, they created a spy ring and were never discovered. So yeah, a great bunch of people.
Your character, Major Hewlett, might be one of the nicest British people ever portrayed that I've seen. He's like he kind of seems like a guy you like, rather than some of the other characters.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've sort of made my career playing, shall we say, morally questionable jerks. And to be honest, it was one of the things that really attracted me about this project, is that they were very keen to show how it wasn't kind of black and white, Americans versus British. It was kind of friend against friend and family against family. Right. A lot of people living in America were loyal to the crown and didn't want to be separate. They didn't want to be independent. And there was all these layers of, for the guy I play, Major Hewlett, is essentially a kind of middle manager. Like today's warfare, these guys are, incredibly brave and get put in these situations that perhaps they don't want to be in. And he's trying to do the best that he can, So, I wanted to portray him as a man, as not perhaps not as the idea of the dastardly villains that all the Brits were. You know, there was a lot of good people involved in a misguided venture, but
Right.
you know, they were trying to do the right thing, and he believed in that. You know, that the Americans were subjects to the king. You know, a lot of the Brits did believe that at that time.
Right.
We don't learn about it much in England. I wonder why. We're sort of not taught it at school much.
I was going to say, I mean, even, you know, you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. Are you a bit of a history buff before that?
Yeah.
You know, before you were even on the show?
Yeah, definitely.
And I guess growing up in England, even though you are a bit of a history buff, did you know as much as you did, as much about the American Revolution? They probably they're not like, it's been a while. I can't imagine they're still bitter.
Well, it's kind of weird. I was actually born in Los Angeles.
Right.
I am actually an American, but I was brought up in London. So I'm sort of, there's lots of people on the show, Americans playing Brits and Aussies playing Irish and Irish playing, you know. We don't really learn about the American Revolution too much at school. It's kind of like glossed over. Because we lost. I mean, let's be honest. You know, so, but you know what I love about? I love the idea and the purity of the idea of creating a nation where everyone has the right to be free from religion, free from, you know, kings and queens. It's a beautiful ideal, you know, and I've got so much love and respect for those founding fathers of this great country, for their idealism and their heroism. You know, I mean, they were insurgents.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, and I mean,
and it was instant death. You know, you were caught. It was instant death. So I just think they were true heroes. You know,
it's crazy too, because I mean, something like what happened then would have never happened, at least not the same way that it would today with the way technology is and everything. Like, it's crazy that, you know, they're sneaking notes in little wooden ships and things of that nature, where now you could send somebody like a private message on Facebook or Twitter or something, and like, it's completely different.
It totally is. And we discovered through doing the series that there was no, you know, like invisible ink.
Yeah.
You know, we get it in joke shops now, but back then it was a huge deal when Washington introduced this invisible ink to the spies. They used it, and it was a big deal. They were creating spycraft as they were going along. There wasn't a kind of manifesto of, you know, this is how you do whatever. It was all kind of making it up, and like I say, you know, if you got caught, you'd be hung the next day.
Yeah.
No two ways about it.
That's crazy.
You get caught behind enemy lines. That was just the deal, you know. So, they're kind of creating as they go along. In the future episodes, I don't think I'd spoil it by saying you start to see incredibly, you know, well, there's this thing called the Turtle, which was basically the world's first submersible, which was used to, you know, go into the harbour and plant bombs against the hulls. You know, this was like incredibly ingenious, you know, engineering that came about. And,
for the 1700s.
During this war, there were so many techniques and weapons made, and, you know, it was a very exciting time in terms of spycraft, you know.
Yeah, and I think AMC has another hit on their hands with this one. I mean, and up until maybe 2007 or 2008, nobody probably really even thought twice about AMC having an original series. I mean, you know, Mad Men came out in 2007. We talked to a gentleman, Christopher Plaha, last week, who was on a few episodes of it, and he said, you know, when he tried out or he auditioned for Don Draper when the show first came out, nobody thought, you know, anything of it. They're like, oh, it's just, you know, AMC. Nobody thought or knew it was going to be the hit that it was. And with Breaking Bad in 2008, Walking Dead starting in 2010. I mean, do you think you would have even auditioned for any show, let alone, you know, a historical show on AMC maybe even 10 years ago?
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
they've
think
come a really long way.
I think what they have, in my very small experience with them, I mean, I've genuinely had the best, you know, they have a commitment to quality, which I think, I can't speak about many other networks, because I've worked on a few, but they have a commitment, and it feels like, with something like Mad Men, if you looked at, and Breaking Bad, if you looked at the ratings for the first few series, if you'd just taken it from that, you'd kind of think, well, you know, there's enough people watching it, but it certainly isn't this kind of zeitgeisty thing that Breaking Bad and Mad Men became.
Right.
You know, and the ambition on turn is something that I really credit AMC for, you know, pursuing. With a costume drama, especially historical costume drama, you have to go big or go home. You know, you can't, specifically with things like the costumes and whatever, you can't just do a half-assed, half-assed effort. You have to commit, and that means budget, you know, and it also means saying that it's a high-risk strategy. It'd be so much simpler to film something in offices with people wearing suits. It's much cheaper. You know, turn is a massive undertaking. Just from the livestock alone in a scene, you've got sheep and cows and horses, and us as the viewer don't, you know, you kind of don't think about it, but, you know, just the effort alone to make the scene, you know, authentic is huge. And I've got much respect for them for that commitment, because that's what ultimately makes these series that stand the test of time, I believe, anyway, you know. And then they have something like The Walking Dead, which, I mean, on paper you could sort of think, okay, you know, it was Frank Darabont at the first, and it had, you know, obviously it was a massive comic book anyway, but it's just become a complete phenomenon. I mean, who would have thought that you'd still be able to get 14, 15 million viewers, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
On the same note as Walking Dead, and switching gears to, you know, obviously a little bit more fantasy, like Walking Dead is, another show that you were on in the past that I was a fan of, so I'm probably going to geek out a little bit here, is you were in the first 2 seasons of Torchwood on BBC. And I know you had mentioned earlier you were born in the U.S., but you grew up in the U.K. So I got to ask, just because you grew up in the U.K., were you a Doctor Who fan growing up?
Yes, I was. I mean, it's a little bit like, well, you know, I don't know if you're Doctor Who fans, but you kind of know the perhaps the resonance it has in the UK simply from, firstly, how long it's been around, you know, the longest running sci-fi show in the world, I think. Mm-hmm. And I just remember it always being part of my life. You know, when you came home from school, it was on, and Tom Baker particularly was such a huge kind of iconic character. It was his silhouette with the scarf and his hair and everything. You know, he was just always part of our lives. So when they phoned and said, particularly that Russell T Davies and the producer at the time, Julie Gardner, were producing this spin-off, I was a bit like, well, you know, I would love to be part of the canon in any way. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really described to us what Torchwood was going to be, except that it was a more adult rap show, and, you know, there was going to be different things in it. And I think, like, looking back now, I obviously have huge fondness for the show and the cast still, obviously, because it didn't turn out the way I don't think that anyone thought it would. It was a tricky, as you know, you either love it or hate it. Mm-hmm. You know, some of the episodes are really good, and some of them are just pretty crappy. You know, but,
well, Doctor Who was the same way. I mean, you know, there are the episodes that were great, and because I am myself a huge Doctor Who fan, and there were episodes that were the same way. There were episodes that you loved, and then there were episodes that were just utter, you know, complete throwaway garbage. but you still loved them all the same, whether they were great or they were bad. So,
I agree.
I'm curious, being a Doctor Who fan and then doing Torchwood. I mean, because you were in a cast that was surrounded by John Barrowman, who himself is a fantastic actor, and I can only imagine what it would be like to work with him on set, because I've seen behind the scenes stuff where, you know, he can be a complete serious deadpan actor, but he is a complete goofball, you know, behind the scenes. So,
yeah, he really led by example, though. I'll tell you, honestly, he actually is an extremely good company leader, as it were, because he knows how much these things take, you know, the time and, you know, say you're on a night shoot or something like that. And John leads by example. He works really hard, but he plays hard as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, 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 it was great, very warm, you know, great technicians, great actors. We were left to our own devices in a corner of Wales. We really were. Like, people called us the small show and the Doctor Who were the big show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like we were sort of left alone. And looking back, though, in 2000 and, God, it was almost 2006 now, 2007, you know, it's almost 10 years ago. It was the first show on British television, I think, that really kind of presented sexuality, pansexuality, bisexuality as a non-issue.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an issue. It just was what people were like, which is the reality. You know, whatever you're into, you're into. And I loved the fact that there was no judgment about it. And it, yes, it was, sometimes it was done in a crass way, and, you know, my character in particular was a jerk. You know, he was a, you know, he was a spiky, quite unlikable character. But I always feel as an actor, it's not my job to make my characters likable. It's my job to make them human and to show the grey areas, and, you know, and I want to elicit a strong reaction from the audience. And if that's hate or dislike, then at least it's something. It's memorable. You know, it's not a kind of bland, vanilla, you know, presentation. So I loved doing Tortured. It was a wonderful, wonderful time, and I don't think anything will be made like that again. With the sort of chaos around it. You know, it was. I've got very fond memories in it. Yeah, and also,
go ahead.
Sorry to go on. It attracts a certain type of people. When somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh, I love Tortured," I know that they're going to be good fun. You know, like you can have a good time down the pub with them. You know.
But you mentioned the fact that your character was a jerk, and I think I think it's fitting that the fact that because your character was a jerk, your character died twice throughout the course of the show. And I'm curious too, you know, being a Doctor Who fan and being on Torchwood, it never happened, and I know fans of the show kind of wished it did every once in a while, but did you ever wish at any point that the show would cross back over, if only just for an episode, back into Doctor Who, just so you could say you were on Doctor Who?
Oh, do you know what? I you know, secretly, of course, I would love that, but I think that tone of my character and his place within Tortured was a completely different tone to Doctor Who, and I think that it just wouldn't have sat right. I think, you know, it was fine for the others to go through, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, obviously, never say never. I would love to have turned up in some, you know, some space bar somewhere or something. But yeah, it shall remain one of those things that I'll always wish, but, you know, never happened. Not to worry, you know.
Well, I mean, there's rumor that that Stephen Moffat is open to bringing back Captain Jack and River Song to the current iteration of the Doctor.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
Who's to say that the Doctor couldn't stumble upon a timeline where you and the rest of Torchwood are still around?
Yeah, that's right. No, I think all that lot have had enough of me. I think they think that I'm like Owen, so they try and avoid me as much as possible. You know?
I know we're running a little
that
short.
would be so cool.
That would be.
I know we're running a little short on time with you, but I really quick want to mention Game of Thrones, where you were on a few episodes as Carl Tanner, one of the Night's Watch, who kind of went a little rogue. And I heard that you're also a Game of Thrones fan, so I'm curious how different it was working on that compared to other shows that you worked on, especially with the really large following that it's gained. I mean, you talk about the AMC shows, Breaking Bad and Mad Men, how they started out, and Game of Thrones has kind of done the same thing where it's just blown up.
Oh, it's a monster, isn't it? Yeah. I was a massive fan. So I was, if I'm honest with you, I got in touch and said I'd do anything. Occasionally as an actor you write a letter or whatever, and I was like, yeah, come on, I'll do anything. I don't care. And so David and Dan, the creators, I think saw an audition, saw something and say, okay, well, he can play that part. And that was in season 3, which is, I was in it for like 5 seconds. And then they were very kind enough to bring me back for season 4. And I don't think I've ever sworn so much in any other part. I told my mum not to watch it. She said, oh, it's all right. I've seen you swear before. And she phoned me afterwards and said, oh, that was a bit blue, wasn't it? So, yeah, but I was such a massive fan. It was a dream come true, actually, and a really good bunch of people as well. It seems like I'm saying that about everything, but obviously they had this huge undertaking in, 5 different countries across the world, and they remained just absolutely fantastic people, very hardworking, but incredibly, a good bunch. It was a dream come true. It really was. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, your story arc was great in season 4, and it was a little nerving too, because your character. I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. Like, I was actually kind of worried that with Game of Thrones, anything can happen. I thought Kit Harington's character was going to die.
Yeah,
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, they like to keep us on our toes, don't they? Definitely.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to be next. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, especially because they're diverting from the books now, so it's pretty much a mystery to everyone at this point, which is good.
That's right. I mean, it takes a little while, doesn't it? As a reader, you're like, oh, that's different, and there's a little bit of a jolt, but then they know exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they really do, and so I think dramatically, if something can be not improved from the books, but if they sense that it would fit in to the episode better for it to be a certain way, I think you've just got they really do know what they're doing. But it was very exciting to be part of it. Yeah, I was very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Well, I know we're running short on time, so we're going to get ready to wrap things up with you. But before we go, I just want to say, since we didn't get to talk about it a lot, I'll just leave it with this. I think you and Charlie Day were the true heroes of Pacific Rim.
Thank you very much.
Because,
I'll pay you later.
Because without you, the plan would have never worked, the original plan would have failed, and the whole world would have been gone. So,
there you go.
Yeah, there we are. Absolutely. For once, the scientists come up with the actual solution, which I was very glad to be part of. I've got to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. It was great. Very,
surprised
very
a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's such a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? It was a total immersive experience. And Guillermo, as you know, is a genius. And just to work with him, for me, was the thing. And so I just did what he asked me to do, and had a great time on it.
And you just worked with him again too, with Crimson Peak.
Yeah, have you seen the trailers for that?
I have. I actually just watched it today. It looks really good.
It is. Seriously, I mean, in terms of gothic horror, you could think, oh yeah, but it's not actually going to scare me because it is really, really scary in the best possible classic way.
Oh, and I love Tom Hiddleston
again,
too.
to work on any of this set is just incredible. It's totally practical. There's hardly any CGI. It's just a dream.
Yeah, Guillermo just has such an eye for the visuals, and it's fantastic.
It's so lavish, and you can watch it so many times because there's always new detail in there.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
We'll have to have you back on in October when it comes out.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'll hold you to that.
Hey,
Great talking to you. I appreciate it.
all for it. So we're going to wrap things up with you now. The finale is just a couple weeks away for Turn Washington Spies. It airs Monday nights on AMC at 10/9 Central. Byrne, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was great.
It was a total pleasure, Jen. Real pleasure.
We're going to send people to follow you on Twitter, at Byrne Gorman on Twitter, and you're also on Instagram at Byrne Gorman1. So with that being said, we're going to wrap things up, and we'll be back in just a few. Hang tight.
Hey, what's up? It's Andrew Santino. You are listening to the Showcast on Next Level Radio.
You're so weird.
I was hoping you were going to play that when we came back from that interview. That was actually off the air. That was after the interview was already done.
Yeah, what did you mention to him?
I had
Johnny English?
It was Johnny English Reborn. I had told him that his part wasn't that big in it, but I absolutely love Johnny English Reborn, and that's when he called me weird. And I took it as a huge compliment because he was laughing when he said it, and it's just...
He's British. They have to laugh when they're mean to you.
Mean to me or not, he was awesome. He was an awesome interview.
Oh, yeah, he was fantastic.
And we didn't even get to some of the stuff that we wanted to talk. Like, we could have talked Dark Knight Rises, and...
Yeah, well, I think we're going to have him back on at some point.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with that new movie coming out.
But, I mean, we could have talked more Pacific Rim with him.
Oh, easily. That's I think it's... I don't want to say it's underrated, because I actually do think it gets some good credit. It just caught me by complete surprise. I didn't expect it to be good at all, and it was actually really entertaining.
Yeah, and there's rumor to a sequel, so I hope if there is a sequel, him and Charlie Day are both back for it. Which
Atlantic Rim?
I don't see why the Atlantic Rim, Indian Rim.
There you go.
That's something completely different,
bro.
Anyway,
so wrong. Let's move along. He's coming out Crimson Peak October, so hopefully we'll get him back in on for that.
And that looks really good too.
It does. That's Guillermo del Toro does good work.
Yes, he most certainly does. And you can follow him on Twitter. Is it at Byrne? It's just at Byrne Gorman, I think.
It is, yeah. And then Instagram's the one that's at Byrne Gorman 1, I believe.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely follow him on Instagram and Twitter. He was a lot of fun. So and like Adam said, we'll have him back on. I think around October, maybe we were talking.
Probably, yeah.
So I think
somewhere around there.
That's when Crimson Rim.
Yeah, right when that movie comes out.
Crimson Rim.
Crimson Rim. There you go. That's the sequel.
It's what is it? It's Crimson
Pacific Peak.
Crimson Peak.
Yes.
Which weirdly enough, if you think about it, could actually be the title of a Pacific Rim movie. But it's
Crimson
nothing
Peak?
like it.
Yeah, sure, I guess.
It's got no robots.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Looks good.
Anyway.
Still love him in Game of Thrones, though.
Yes.
And I honestly, because he's... I'm not meaning this in a mean way, but he's a relatively pale fellow, right? Like, he's not tan or anything. So everything you see him in, he's not darker in the skin, you know what I mean? It's not tan or olive or anything like that. But in Game of Thrones... What?
I was wondering the same thing.
What?
Go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said.
I asked you what you're getting at.
I'm saying I didn't recognize him in Game of Thrones because everybody on that show is covered in dirt and shit.
Oh, fair.
So I didn't recognize him at first until prepping for the interview.
And he plays such...
That was a really roundabout way of saying it, sorry.
And he plays such the stuck-up prick
oh my God, yeah.
character in almost everything he does. And he was the furthest thing from that, talking to him. And that's what I loved about it so much.
Yeah, I really hated the character that he played in Game of Thrones until we talked to him.
Yeah. So, and it was so great to find out that he was actually a big fan of Game of Thrones before he went on it and everything. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, check him out on Twitter at Byrne Gorman and on Instagram at Byrne Gorman 1. So, with that, let's move on to real quick mention before we wrap things up. I know Adam didn't get a chance to watch it, but Steve and I did. The end of an era happened this week, and that was David Letterman signed off The Late Show after 33 years. Man, that is such an impressive run. Like I don't know. Like
That's half your life.
It's not half my life, you jackass. It's longer than both of you have been around, and almost as long as I've been around. I mean, I was 2 years old when he started the Late Show. Like that's just.
How long have you been telling people you're 35?
I am 30.
It's like a milestone number.
I am 35. So
yeah, this is your 5th 29th birthday.
No.
Exactly.
It would be my 6th 29th birthday. Let's get the math right.
We've figured out multiple times that we're not good at math on this show.
That's true. But I thought it was a very nice send-off that they had. There was a lot of special guests, mainly in the top 10.
Top 10 was sweet.
The top 10 was so great. I thought Jim Carrey was hysterical. The top 10 things were things you always wanted to say to Dave. And some of the guests, I don't remember all of them, but it was like Alec Baldwin, Peyton Manning, Jim Carrey, Chris Rock, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jerry Seinfeld.
Did you say Bill Murray? Bill Murray was number one.
No, Bill Murray was number one. Steve Martin, Martha Stewart. Not Martha Stewart. Barbara Walters.
Yeah, Barbara Walters, yeah.
I think that's all of them, actually. I think I actually did name all of them. I can't think if there were any that I remembered. But, yeah, Bill Murray, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, surprisingly, and Jim Carrey were the three that really stood out to me. Jim Carrey was, he comes out and he says, I always thought you were a bit of an overactor. And then he proceeds to shake up his hair and make this strange face and mimic flying.
He does a classic Jim Carrey overacting job.
Yeah, exactly. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was great because she came out and said, thank you for making me a part of another failed finale.
Oh, and Seinfeld was one of the people.
Yeah, and then the camera cuts to Jerry, and he's making like this bitterly disappointed face.
Yeah, it was good.
And then Bill
Murray.
Murray,
That was my favorite one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. And then Bill Murray being number one was "I'll never have the money that I owe you,"
Yeah.
which was great. But it was mainly a clip show. They showed a lot of clips from past episodes, and Foo Fighters rounding out the night. I thought was great. I love the story that he told before Foo Fighters went on about what Foo Fighters actually meant to him and that particular song Everlong that they played, because it actually did have some meaning to him behind that. So I thought it was really nice that they closed out the entire run of his show. And I mean, Johnny Carson, when Johnny Carson signed off, it was very emotional. Everybody cried. And I think Dave just kind of wanted to stay away from that. He didn't want the overly emotional thing. He had his family, his wife and his son in the audience as well, and he gave them a little nod. But overall, I thought it was a great send-off. Steve, what did you think of the send-off itself?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, there was when he played the clips of him talking to kids, he kind of originated that. Kimmel does a lot of Letterman stuff. Like he's pretty much his mentor was Letterman as far as Kimmel goes. So that says a lot about Letterman as well, that he lasted as long, but he also affected one of the greatest, or one of the big late night hosts that's on right now as well. So I thought that was funny when they did the flashbacks to the other segments that he did. Yeah, I thought it was cool to go back and see all the stuff that he did. I was kind of watching throughout as well, like when Jack Hanna was on Jack Hanna's last appearance. They did pretty much a clip thing for Jack Hanna, which was cool because he's pretty much been funny throughout the entire run of the show, and he's been on like 50 times. So they just did a clip show of Jack Hanna pretty much on Jack Hanna's last appearance, which was good. So it's cool to look back and see all the funny things that he did throughout the years, because he's always been funny, which is always good as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was never like a solid watcher. I didn't watch every week. I would watch every now and again, depending on who the guest was. But I was more into, like, now I'm a big Jimmy Fallon fan, and I was always big into Craig Ferguson and such. And the whole landscape of late night television is changing. I mean, Jon Stewart is signing off the Daily Show. Colbert already left and is taking over the Late Show. You know, Jimmy's moved up to the Tonight Show, and James Corden is taking over the Late Show, and so it's. You know, because Ferguson's out now, and so
somehow Carson Daly still has a show.
Does he?
Yeah, he's after the Late Show.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know he was. He still had a show. I will say the one other thing I really did enjoy during the his last episode was they did a segment that actually showed what it's like in his day to day.
Yeah, that was cool.
Going, from the moment he shows up at the studio in the morning at like 6 a.m. in the morning all the way up until the time that he does the show. I thought that was really, really cool to get that little bit of an insight. Because you never really, in 33 years, you've never really seen that. So I thought it was really, really cool. And I'm very interested now to see, I'm a Colbert fan, but the Colbert Report was a character. And now we're going to see the real Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
So it'll be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. He takes over in September, so we shall see.
All those shows take off for the summer, right?
No.
Just reruns?
No, a lot of them don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of them go all year round.
Oh, okay.
They take like weeks off here and there throughout the year, but they pretty much are all year.
Okay.
So that about wraps it up for that. So let's get ready to wrap things up with us. But before we do that, let's move things on to Adam's weekly update.
And now, the Showcast Weekly Update.
And this week's weekly update is brought to you by 17 again, because that's the movie that brought Ben around on Zac Efron.
You're an asshole.
I still can't get her. Sorry.
What is wrong with it? What is wrong with it? Seriously.
In the news this week, Disney World has decided to ban the use of selfie sticks on its rides. Tourists were upset initially until they realized that 90% of the rides take your damn picture anyway.
That's true.
A family in Philadelphia is claiming that an airplane dumped poop on their daughter's Sweet 16 party. Man, MTV is really getting desperate for viewers on that show.
I did not see him going that route.
John Stamos said in an interview this week that he is disappointed that the Olsen twins won't join Fuller House, which is surprising considering the only things they've done in the past 20 years were older men and cocaine.
You leave Heath Ledger out of this.
Ben will like this one. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West celebrated their 1-year wedding anniversary today, which is which beat out my expectation by about 364 and a half days.
Why would I like that one? Because it's a Kardashian story?
Yeah.
And they can't stand the Kardashians?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And Kanye. Finally, this week, according to a new study, cold weather is 20 times as deadly as hot weather. And 20 times deadlier than cold weather is Chuck Norris.
Did you see there's a picture floating around online, and I hope to God it's true. But it was pretty much the day the Nazis were defeated was one day, and the very next day was the day Chuck Norris was born.
No.
And it says coincidence.
Interesting. But that is it for the weekly update.
All right, cool. Let's wrap this shit up so we can get out of here and celebrate the rest of Memorial Day and enjoy the rest of our weekends. And Steve can go get his drink on.
Woo! Oh, he already started.
Special thanks to Eric, to Bern Gorman for
and
joining.
Eric,
and
whoever
Eric,
you are.
I don't even know why I said it.
Thank you, Eric.
Special thanks to Bern Gorman for joining us on this week's podcast. He was great to talk to.
Efron.
Shut up. Thank you, 17 again, for turning me around on Zac Efron.
For changing my life.
For turning me on to Zac Efron.
Oh, I am never opening up on this podcast again. Oh,
Can it change the way you viewed Billy Zane?
No, he's still a douche. I loved him in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, though.
He was in, what was that Ben Stiller movie?
I don't know. You brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, follow us.
Why can't I think of it?
Follow us on Twitter at NXT Level Radio. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Next Level Radio Online. Find us on iTunes. Just search for Next Level Radio in your iTunes store.
Zoolander.
Was he in Zoolander?
Yeah, very brief.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Maybe he'll be in the second one, too.
I think he is going to be.
Check out our website for all of our past podcasts and interviews, as well as our Wizard World coverage from a couple weekends ago, and all future event coverage as well. www.nextlevelradioonline.com. And with that being said, next week we will be speaking in studio with Scott Hanna, who is a Marvel and DC writer and illustrator. So that should be a pretty cool interview since we've never done anything with like a writer or illustrator before.
He is an inker.
So, but he's not a tracer.
No.
Hopefully people get that reference.
No.
Oh, we should bring that up to him too. It's a Mallrats reference.
Oh, okay.
Or no, it's not. It's
Is it Mallbrats?
It's Chasing Amy. Chasing Amy reference.
You were close.
Yeah. It's a Kevin Smith movie.
Okay.
Jay and Silent Bob are in it.
Okay.
So
I don't think I ever saw Chasing Amy.
It's not bad. It's not his best, but it's not bad. So yeah, Scott Hanna next week, and the following week, TJ Miller, which will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm definitely anticipating that. So with that being said, unless anybody has anything else?
Well, Steve, remember when Ben was explaining the "You're So Weird" clip and why Gorman said it?
Sure.
He actually lied about that. He told Gorman that 17 again changed the way he viewed Zac Efron.
You're so weird.
And that's when he said it.
Oh, you're an ass.
You're so weird.
You're so weird.
Oh, and you'll hear his promo at some point in the future, but the way he says Showcast is fantastic because he's British. So. Showcast.
He was born in Hollywood, by the way. So
yeah, we talked about it. Grew up in London, but yeah, I don't have anything else other than that.
All right.
That was it.
All right.
Steve, enjoy your party.
Okay.
So, all right, with that being said, we are out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you around the bend.
Later.
It's the Great Plumpkin, Charlie Brown.
You're so weird.